Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Catch made. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Ducks athletics.
First day in pads yesterday afternoon for Oregon football. Dan Lanning with some positive comments. He liked the back and forth that he saw. We have that for you coming up. We also have a number of assistant coaches who have chatted with the media over the course of the last couple days. And because we've had, honestly, so many things to talk about, some of them, we still have them for you. We've got those interviews with Junior Adams and Tony Tuioti coming up, talking wide receivers, talking defensive line, respectively, a few Oregon football student athletes. A reminder that the preseason special for Duck football is coming up on the 22nd, the Tuesday, 2 weeks from now. We're less than 2 weeks away from the preseason special. 7 o'clock, Jerry and Jorgie will be here in the Country Financial Studio. I will probably be here, haven't decided yet, and we will rotate through the greatest hits of fall camp. Basically, the best quotes, the most insightful comments from every Oregon football player and coach. That's the preseason special. And then also a reminder that the Oregon Football Coaches Show returns on Wednesday, August 30th, 7 p.m. Dan Lanning will join us every week on the Oregon Football Coaches Show. You can watch via the GoDucks YouTube. You might be watching Duck Insider via the GoDucks YouTube right now and on the Oregon Football social media channels before kickoff on September 2nd against Portland State at noon. Also, I would like to make a formal request because our coaches show is on Wednesday and that's set. We can't change it. I'd like to make a formal request on behalf of Scott Phillips that Disney move the weekly release schedule of the Ahsoka series to not be on Wednesday because I'm pretty confident that Scott might miss work for one of the coaches shows on Wednesday night because he's watching Ahsoka.
I second that.
Yeah, I thought that you might enjoy that. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do, Scott. I think that we might have to watch in the studio. I don't know what are the other options here.
I think we should have it on, and I think Coach would enjoy it.
Coach would probably enjoy it. Yeah, I'm in for that. Coach Lanning after practice yesterday. So a number of exciting things as fall camp builds up. In general, I would say that the offense generally has the upper hand later in fall camp. At least that's what I've observed in 10 years. Oh, my God. 10 years of watching fall camp. That's kind of what I've observed. It seems like the defense is always ahead because the offense takes a little bit of time to get the timing. But Coach Lanning, pretty complimentary of the way the offense performed. Back and forth, I don't know. You're rooting for the Ducks in fall camp, right? Go offense, go defense. Do you want the offense to be 50% successful because that means the defense was 50% successful? Coach Lanning breaking it all down for us. First padded practice yesterday.
All right, a lot of good work today. I would say the offense kind of got the better hat of the defense today, but yesterday the defense probably got the better hat of the offense. So it's good when you have some back and forth, certainly a lot to clean up. Got to continue to work to be a tough team. You know, we see flashes of it. We have to be consistently tough, but can open it up from there.
Okay. Talk about Makai joining the team and kind of how that process came about.
Yeah, Makai wanted to play football, and we want to give him a chance to see if he can. You know, it's been a long time. He hasn't really played since his freshman year in high school, but you can't coach fast, right? He's fast. We'll see what he's able to do out there for us.
What do you have to give Jerry to make that happen?
What's that?
What do you have to give Schumacher to make that happen?
No, Jerry's a team guy, right? Jerry and I talked before, and he said, yeah, if this is something he wants to do, then this is something we want to let him do. You know, it's our job to see if it's going to be a fit for him because he's obviously got a long career ahead of him in track. That doesn't change, right? And that's certainly his first priority, but right now it gives him an opportunity to see what he can do.
What was his previous experience you know of?
He hadn't had a lot of experience since his, really his freshman year in high school, right? They played wide receiver in a wing T offense. He's pretty good when you give him the reverse, right? So it's a little bit different. There's a lot of catching up to do, and there's a lot of things to pick up. But he's came here with a great attitude, and he's working his tail off. We'll see what happens.
Have you put him in a race with Roderick yet?
We have not. No, we have not.
Does he count against the 85?
Not right now.
What have you seen from Kyler from last year to this year that, seen him grow a little bit?
Yeah, well, today he had a big catch in 2 minutes, right? There was kind of a tip ball, had a big catch in 2 minutes to keep the drive alive and give the offense a chance to go down there and poke in a field goal to win. So, Kyler continues to improve. He continues to become more and more consistent. He certainly worked really hard. And looking for him to continue to make big strides moving forward.
How important do you think that early enrollment was for him, just to kind of get a jump start on things?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get here and get work, it's gonna give you a chance to be better. So Kyler's certainly somebody that benefited from that.
Last week, Evan mentioned at Media Day how you had been talking to him about becoming more of a leader. What have you seen from him in that regard this past week?
Yeah, just more vocal. And you don't always have to lead with words. Sometimes you lead by action, right, in the way that you do things. But I guess I would say this, for anybody that's entered our program, I'm not looking for anyone to take a back seat to someone else, right? When you're in our program, I don't care if you're a freshman or a senior, you got the opportunity to lead by what you do every single day.
You have a lot of guys who can, return kicks, punts, capable of doing that. What are you looking for in particular from the main punt or kick returner?
The guy that can catch the ball, right, own the ball, and then score.
Will you do any live returns in the Saturday scrimmages?
Probably not.
So the offense got the better of the defense a little bit. What other skill players, aside from Kyler, kind of stood out today making some big plays?
There were several. I don't know that I could just pick one. Bo performed well today, did a good job taking care of the ball, but we had some really explosive runs from Noah and Bucky. Jaden Lamar had a big run as well. So had some passes down the field. There were plenty of guys that stood out.
What kind of progress have you seen along the offensive line of just guys gelling, getting continuity because it's so many new faces?
Yeah, they've done a really good job there. I think Coach Terry's done a really good job. Coach Cav and Coach Cutter working all together have done a really good job of building that unit the way it's supposed to look.
What do you think of the physicality today?
Yeah, we're banging. We were banging a little bit today. We were kind of had an emphasis too on celebrating. There was a lot of celebrating going on the sidelines, which is a positive. But yeah, we had a physical practice.
Why is that important to have that celebrating? What does that do for you?
It all goes back to our DNA traits of connection, right? It's we want to be able to celebrate together. You're not going to be able to play this game as individuals, right? You have to play together.
Tony yesterday said Ben Roberts is taking a big jump from where he was at this point last year. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I think a lot of players going into year two have the opportunity to do that because their head's not spinning. They're not like a chicken with their head cut off anymore. And Ben's certainly a guy that knows where he's going now, what's his job. Has done a good job of learning his assignments and then executing. So when you're able to do that, when you know what you're doing, right, you can start playing with violence and speed that you need to play with.
How do you go about coaching or instilling individual confidence there? Like if a player is just either they're young, they haven't quite done it yet, or even a guy who's been around like a Jordan Birch. How do you go about instilling that more, or getting that out of a guy more?
When they do a good job, you tell them good job.
That
Pretty simple. Yeah.
What have you seen from Mateo so far? What are some things he's been doing well in practice through the first few days?
Yeah, it's just, for a guy coming in as a freshman to be able to pick up the scheme like he has, once you know the scheme, just similar to Ben, you're going to be able to play a lot faster. He has a lot of natural ability, but him picking that up, I think, allowed him to kind of excel.
What have you seen from the punting competition so far?
Yeah, we chart it every single day. I don't think there's a clear leader yet. And then again, you need to get more punts with pressure too. So once that happens, I think we'll have a clear picture of what that looks like.
What's the goals that you've got to set up for Saturday scrimmage, and just things you want to see before then and things you want to see then?
Yeah,
specifically?
Just our ability to play fast. We've still got a couple more situations that we want to hit before we get there, but the ability to execute our offense and defense fast, right? Special teams at a fast level and at a high level of execution.
How has Nico Reed kind of adjusted to this cornerback room, and how has he been so far in fall camp?
Yeah, he's picked it up fast. He's had some wins, he's had some losses, but he's able to learn from every single one of them, which is important.
Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, meeting with the media. First practice in pads last night. Ducks back on the practice field today. Then on Thursday, an off day. Tomorrow, an off day. Which means Ryan Milano is hosting the show tomorrow. Very excited for Ryan to make his debut. He'll host the show a few times, more than a few, coming up over the course of the week and weeks ahead. Then the Ducks will practice on Friday and Saturday is a scrimmage day, which means I will just clip myself to Mike Jorgensen and look at Jorgie after every play so that I know what to say to you all coming up next Monday. FanFest is also this weekend. Oregon Athletic Department hosting a FanFest on Sunday in the Mashofsky Center. Student-athletes from Duck football, soccer, volleyball, men's and women's basketball will be in attendance. Event runs 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Admission is free. Parking is free in the Mashofsky lot and the East Autzen lot. There's going to be a passing station, soccer penalty kicks, a dunk tank. I have not yet convinced Scott to participate in the dunk tank. We're working on it. More to come. I forgot to ask Matt Ulmer if he would be participating in the dunk tank. We're going to have to do that. We'll ask coming up. The FanFest, though, this Sunday from 11 a.m. until 12:30. Admission is free. Also today, Oregon running back Bucky Irving and Oregon running back Noah Whittington have been named to the preseason watch list for the Doak Walker Award. Irving and Whittington are among 75 players on the preseason watch list for the award presented annually to the top running back in college football. Ducks, one of 11 schools with multiple running backs on the watch list. That actually surprised me. The fact that more and more teams are using that tandem backfield. Slightly different styles in Noah Whittington and Bucky Irving. Two guys, though, that I think are going to contend for that Doak Walker Award the way that the Ducks want to run the ball. They insist on running the ball, especially in this offense with Will Stein. Looking forward to seeing what that tandem looks like over the course of the year behind this new offensive line. Also, this is awesome. Oregon women's golf senior Brianna Chacon set the 36-hole scoring record at the 123rd U.S. Women's Amateur on Tuesday at Bel Air Country Club. She finished with a 9-under 139 to claim stroke play medalist honors. After opening with a stellar 4-under 66 in Monday's opening round, she was even better on Tuesday, shot 6-under. A native of nearby Whittier, California, Chacon bested the previous scoring record of 133 set in 2016. She said afterwards, "Wow, I did not know that." It's an honor, and I'm just so thankful to be here this week with all my family and friends. I'm lucky that it's so close to my hometown. I'm just really excited. Didn't even know that it was a scoring record, and she broke the amateur scoring record. Congratulations to Brianna Chacon. Oregon women's golf will be back in action for their fall schedule with head coach Derek Radley coming up in just a little while. Also, men's basketball has announced the signing of transfer guard Jesse Zarzuela. Spent last season at Central Michigan, averaged over 16 points per game, shot 40% from the floor, 36% from three, nearly 4 rebounds per game as well. Prior to Central Michigan, he played for Coppin State, averaged 15 points per game there as the roster continues to fill out for Dana Altman's Ducks. Our roster continues to fill out in the studio with Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. He's coming up next. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. He's Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. He changed it up today, everybody. He didn't go with the Diet Mountain Dew. He said he didn't need the caffeine. Went with the bubbly today. How about that? This is new for you. I don't quite know how this interview is going to go. I'm a little rattled right now.
Well, I knew this. I'll preface this by saying I knew this, but it's been reinforced by some new research lately.
Oh.
So I've taken an antihistamine as a sleep aid fairly regularly.
Oh, okay.
Which is to say, basically every night of my life.
Okay.
For the last 5 years, and there's a potential link to that in dementia later in life. So it's not recommended. So I'm trying to change my
good for you
habits
Rob.
so I can still sleep and not be a vegetable.
So the
in a few
afternoon
years.
caffeine is the first casualty.
Right now I'm just experimenting kind of with everything.
Yeah. Well, in your line of work, as someone who I think does have a very good memory, I get it, you know?
Yeah, I'm torn because I sleep like a baby.
Do you really?
When I take an antihistamine. But apparently there's potential for paying the price.
Yeah, I get that. Well, as somebody who really values sleep and hasn't gotten any of it in the last year.
Oh, yeah, touche.
I can understand the value of a good night's sleep.
I have a lot of really bad habits. But
Me too.
I make up for a little of it
with sleep
by being a really good sleeper.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I got to ask you the hard-hitting question. So
that wasn't a hard-hitting. No, that wasn't.
No, that was.
All right, all right.
I mean, hey, we're always going to take a left turn, but I'm going to purposefully take a left turn. So Fan Day, we've been discussing this in the studio. What would it take for you to be the person that's in the dunk tank on Fan Day?
Having been dunked by Rob Mullins himself. At a B Oregon event a few years ago.
About that.
I think I've hung up my spikes, so to speak.
I forgot about that. I should have been more. I should have been more sensitive about asking you this.
I mean,
so
if
you're
not
not
gonna get dunked, getting dunked by the boss.
Yeah.
There's two ways to look at it. One, it's hey, some brownie points.
Right.
But on the other hand, now everybody thinks I'm sucking up, or
well,
I don't know.
I mean, look, the way I look at that, it's just one Rob had to get dunked.
Yeah.
And
better me than him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, what if I dunked him somehow? What would the dynamic be?
Do you think what would it take for Rob Mullins to be in the dunk tank coming up on Sunday?
He's a good sport.
I think he'd do it.
Yeah. Speaking of a guy who needs some sleep, he probably just needs
some sleep.
Relax, yeah.
Yeah. On that note,
yeah.
What's your reaction? Big Ten. So
exciting,
many reactions.
oh no, there's a zillion reactions. There's short term, there's long term, there's sort of 30,000 feet and then kind of down in the weeds, all kinds of things. I think last week was obviously really strange.
Very.
And to be in the position where, as somebody who's used to sort of reporting on the news, to be somebody who, wasn't going to be my function.
Right.
So it's just you're just a news consumer.
Right.
And it just reinforces what, I think is frustrating for a lot of people on a lot of fronts right now, this dynamic. And this is not my number one thought about the whole thing, but just while going through it was just the news environment today is so competitive.
It is.
That, you'd love for a decision like that to be made, and then, hey, let's all meet and discuss it, get together in a room with the whole staff, every student athlete. Rob Mullins stands in front of the room, says, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it.
Right.
Then it gets announced.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's just not the reality of
so
kind of the
now.
news environment we live in. And so, I woke up Friday at about 8:15 or something.
Good for you.
That's pretty normal for me.
How do you do that?
What do you mean? Well, I don't have a baby waking me up.
I couldn't do that before the baby.
Oh, really?
No.
I mean, I'm a night owl.
Once it's bright outside,
if I'm asleep, I have to sleep with a mask on, bro.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Life hack.
All right.
You sleep real good. All these people are like, oh, I like staying in hotels because you can close the
blinds.
I have blinds on every night, and it is awesome.
Okay.
Anywho, so
life lessons.
But if anybody remembers, the way Monday played out, by 8:15, I had missed a lot.
Yeah,
so scrolling through Twitter was like, wait, what?
Right.
And that's, it's just sort of the nature of how things played out. So, I think I'm kind of sensing this from sort of Oregon fandom at large, and certainly this is not universal, but generally speaking, I think a lot of folks, myself included, figured the most likely outcome was that maybe the next media deal, Oregon would have a chance to be in the Big Ten. It just seems like it's heading that direction with the Big Ten and the SEC, and if there's going to be a group of 40 elite teams that are in those leagues, we're probably going to be one of them. Right. So, I think I, along with a lot of other people, kind of wrapped my head around, okay, that's probably what the future looks like. I don't know how we get there, but it seems like that's the way things are trending. And so for as chaotic and quick as everything went down last week, and the way in the short term it seemed kind of out of the blue, it really wasn't in the grand scheme of all the realignment that's been going on. And so I think that kind of softened the blow. But then, you sit back and you take a deep breath and you think about the, century of tradition with the playing out on the West Coast and against all the Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-8 conference teams, Pacific Coast Conference, and all that tradition. And, I really try not to be someone who kind of fears change and dislikes change just because it's different. I think as we age,
which is hard,
you can fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Hey, how I was used to things is what's normal, and anything different than that is abnormal. I really try to not let myself fall into that trap. But you also can't pretend that, nostalgia is not a thing and that certain traditions aren't worth appreciating. And so, there was a moment Friday night too on the couch when kind of it all kind of hit, and it was like, whoa, this is different. This is a big change. This is significant, and it does. I know people at other schools, at some schools that, right now are kind of wondering what the future looks like. I know a ton of people at the Pac-12 conference that are wondering kind of what their future looks like, and that's not an easy thing. But for our future as an institution, it's really, really exciting. I think we're looking forward to a great academic year this year across the board, and then the potential for what the future could hold. Playing against new different teams. I was talking to kind of someone else who's kind of my level of staffer and has worked here for a long time and kind of seen a lot of different things, and it almost feels in some ways like a mid-career change. Like things are going to be so fundamentally different in terms of destinations you go, teams you're playing, places you're playing, that it's like.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's exciting and different, and you can't fear change. You got to embrace it.
I've been traveling around the Pac-12 for 10 years now, and that's a great way to put it. I hadn't thought about it that way. I've been to all these places. Now you're gonna go to a whole new set of places.
Yeah, it's not often that you're gonna have like a really dramatic. If you're a teacher and you teach third grade, and then it's like, oh, now you're gonna teach high school. That's probably like, whoa,
big shift.
I'm sort of doing the same thing, but in a lot of ways not. I think it's going to feel like that for us. We're doing the same thing, but, different places with different people, and that's going to be fun and exciting and different.
Well, to echo a little bit of what you said, I mentioned this on the show on Monday. I really liked what President Schultz said about that, we can express multiple emotions at the same time.
Totally.
We're excited about the future for the U of O, but I do have a lot of those same feelings that you expressed for other people at other schools.
And to get a little meta, again, you talk about kind of the media environment we live in, the social media environment. All of us are so guilty at times of oversimplifying and turning everything into a binary issue, and it's so.
You've only got so many characters.
It's so lazy, and it just ignores the humanity of that all of us have nuanced feelings about everything in life.
Agreed.
Almost nothing is yes, no, good, bad, to completely binary. And so, I totally appreciate anytime somebody in a position like that gives voice to that, because it's a reminder to all of us to, be human. Look at everything from a human perspective, and that there's positives and there's challenges and everything in between, and we can acknowledge all of that. And just because there are some challenges and things like that doesn't mean it was a bad move and or anything like that. It just means that you can see things from different angles and empathize with different people and be happy for us while also acknowledging that for us we're going to have some new challenges. So. I really appreciated that sentiment for sure.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be one that does treasure this season. As the last one of the iteration of the Pac-12.
No, some of the going and playing some road games in the conference schedule is going to be it's going to be strange, and if you're going to play in Arizona school, which has its own kind of different new future ahead of it, it's going to be, exciting for both of us. Don't know when I'll see you next, but, and then there's going to be other schools, and it's like, hey, I can only imagine what it's like to be in your shoes right now, and, we'll all, we all are just going to try to work hard and do what we do and support student athletes, and everybody's going to land on their feet. It's just, what that looks like is going to be a little different. But, it's going to be so different going to all those different places and seeing all those different people.
No doubt. And still a lot to, not to figure out. Like, it's still early in the process, and there are people that are a lot smarter than us to get to figure out all the logistics.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man.
That's how I felt, too.
And as a Libra, too, you do not want me making any of these decisions. It would have been like Friday morning, except that would have been just the ongoing process. Well, I can see why, but what about this? Yeah, but what about this? Yeah, but what about that? I would just do that, spin myself into a knot, pass out from exhaustion, and then somebody smarter would jump in and be like, we got this.
Yeah, well, we all know our role.
Absolutely.
Just do it well.
Yeah.
That's the whole goal. I did want to ask you, well, I'm sure this topic will come up with you and I a lot more over the course of the next year, but I did want to ask you about the Hawaii game. You wrote the story about it. I talked about this coming up on Monday.
Yeah.
Hawaii game, partnering with the Motivate Foundation, goducks.com/motivate. Man, this is a cool deal, Rob. This is an awesome thing for the community.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota was here a few weeks ago, and I caught up with him for just a few minutes. But just to chat about that game and get some thoughts for that story, and just everything with him is so genuine and earnest and down to earth and nice, and he's just a shining example of a human being. But what the University of Hawaii program means to kids like him from Hawaii when you're growing up, and we're Bay Area kids. I mean, there was 2 Power 5 teams within 45 minutes of us. For a kid on the island, if you're thinking about playing major college football, it's the University of Hawaii.
Yep.
And he went to games there, watched them, probably saw himself at times potentially playing there, and then his path took him here. Fortunately for us.
Very fortunately for us.
But yeah, I think it very much means a lot to him that Oregon and Hawaii are going to be playing here this year, there next year. But for here the game here this year, I mean he still has roots here. For anybody who doesn't know that, I mean, he still thinks of this place as a home for him as well, and he wants to get kids out to that game, to appreciate both of the schools that mean so much to him. And so the fact that fans can contribute to that, I mean, I think we all appreciate what Marcus did for all of us and the experiences that he helped provide us. So, if you're looking for a way to kind of say thanks to him for all of that, here's an easy way to do that, and also benefit a kid who's going to get to go to a game and might not otherwise be able to. So, he's just an awesome dude. And Kiyomi's awesome. His wife's awesome. And their baby's the cutest little thing you've ever seen. So, really happy for those guys.
Awesome. Final thoughts. We haven't talked about this year's football team yet.
Yeah.
First day in pads was yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a very 1,000-feet view question of what are you seeing at camp so far? What are you seeing at practice?
It is fun. Yesterday was fun. Pads go on. I mean, the depth, the defensive line depth is really, really impressive. There's some young guys that just look different. It just reflects the recruiting this program's done the last several years, but particularly, the last year or two under Coach Lanning and his staff. But offensive line as well is, a couple guys from the portal. There's some freshmen that look really, really good and talented. And so despite losing some key guys, it's the potential for that group to reload and be really good too. So, when you're talking about a program that's looking forward to playing in the Big Ten and its reputation for physical football, this looks like a program that's being set up long term to play that way, kind of regardless of who you're playing.
Right.
So, but that's really exciting. And then to have someone, we talked to Bo Nix the other day, just to have someone with his maturity and comfort level is just awesome. I mean, he just seems so comfortable in his own skin now. He seems comfortable being here, being a Duck. Now he's got a year under his belt, with these teammates. And that's pretty fun to watch too. I mean, there's a ton of talent at the skill positions. It's there's certainly, you got to make everything fit. And, I think, with some of those new faces on the offensive line, I think it's similar in the secondary. There's a lot of faces from the portal there And so there's no doubting the talent level, but everything's got to fit. Everybody's got to communicate, trust each other, and have all, the sum be even greater than the whole of its parts. But or whatever. I mess it up every time.
The sum is
the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
feel like every time I say it, I flip it.
The sum is greater than the whole of it part.
I mean, luckily we've already prefaced all this by not being as smart as some other people. So
that's right. We really,
my whole life I've been trying to set the bar low.
We cover our bases here.
Yeah,
when we come out of left field every Wednesday, right? We make sure.
Anywho, so yeah, work to be done there, and but obviously the talent's there.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of kind of getting everybody on the same page, kind of getting everybody maximizing all that ability.
It stuck out to me, and Coach Lanning's talked about this a couple times actually throughout the last couple weeks, that there are just more guys on the roster and more depth in general. Like you talked about on the D-line, and it does sound a little different when you've got that often in practice. You can do the 11-on-11.
Yeah,
that makes a huge difference.
Or
I think.
Or 2 sets of 11-on-11.
Right.
Yeah, totally. And you just want reps right now. You just want reps. And so if you have the depth to be basically running 2 practices at the same time, that you're just getting a ton of reps, and
they've done that.
Yeah,
they've been doing that, which is awesome. Well, back on the practice field today. Quack Minute coming your way. Practice report coming your way. GoDucks.com. The guy who edits the entire website. That's him. Rob Moseley.
Every word I do not write.
Well done.
Yeah. Some of them though.
I was gonna say there's some stuff that I've written that I don't know if you've edited.
Yeah. I sloughed that off on someone else.
That's fair. Me.
Make me make me feel bad.
Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Good luck with the no caffeine in the afternoon.
Hey, thanks, bro.
I'm thinking about you.
Yeah, we'll see how football goes today.
Yeah,
might be fading.
I'm gonna enjoy my caffeine.
Yeah. Rub it in the face.
See you on the field.
Yep.
He's Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com, on Twitter @DuckFootball, @GoDucksMoseley. When we come back, talking a little wide receivers, some thoughts from the coaches and players at that position on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Talking a little bit about the wide receiver position with Junior Adams. He went through, talking with the media, a lot of different guys in his room. Some transfers, some new faces that have already made an impact on this team. It's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Junior Adams with the media.
All right, what do you guys got?
Junior, going back to even the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
you know, all right, there's going to be personnel churn, guys will come, guys will go. What were the traits you were looking for in the receivers you were adding via the portal? And for Gary in particular, wasn't here in the spring, what made him a guy who at that point, you made the right fit, was the right addition?
Well, I think when you look to go into the portal and address needs, right? You're looking for experience. You're looking for guys that have made plays at this level. We hang our hat on 3 things in that room, and that's being competitive, that's being tough, and that's being intelligent. And guys that honestly that just fit the culture and the environment that we have. Gary and I's relationship goes all the way back to, gosh, when he was coming out of high school. So I known him, so I recruited him pretty hard. We had a good relationship.
What have you seen so far from those transfers and the 3 days that fall camp is?
I mean, what I see where it starts in the meeting room. Those guys they're coming early. I mean, Tez comes in at 6:30. Trayshawn's is literally right after him around 6:45, 7. Gary's in the building by 6:30, right, doing things to get his body ready for practice. These guys they're taking a leadership role in the room. Obviously, I think they're really doing a good job of connecting, right? Obviously, when you come from somewhere else and then you come into a new program, the most important piece is just to connect. And they've connected with the Troy Franklins and the Chris Hudsons and the veterans that have been in the room.
When did Tez Johnson first get on your radar as a player? Was it something that Bo Nix kind of put you on? Was it seeing his film? When did you first kind of find out about his game and decide to go after him? I mean, you obviously knew who he was, right? I mean, because he played at a high level at Troy. And then obviously when he entered the portal, that's when we explored the possibilities of him transferring.
Tez said that he's up to 160 now. He said he's been trying hard to bulk up. Do you want him to get bigger than that? Is it kind of the area that you want him at? Yeah, I mean, obviously I want him to be at the weight that he can be at, to where he's durable, right? And still be able to play fast and keep his speed and to be able to transition in and out of breaks, and to where he's not having any injuries.
For Kyler and Justice, just in terms of their progress after last year and what they have to do in the next couple of weeks to put themselves in a better position to see a little bit more action than a year ago.
Those guys are competing. I think that's, when you bring the talent that we brought in that room, and you with the Kyler and Justice Lowe's, everyone's competing, and they're helping each other. But those guys have made tremendous strides. They're getting better each day. They have a good feel for the system, which is the most important part. So now they can just worry about just making plays and winning.
You talked about those new guys kind of spending time with each other in the wide receiver room. What about making that connection with Bo? Obviously, they only have this year to, get that connection down with him and produce.
Well, that's what the offseason's for too, right? So I think these guys had a great offseason. Coach Love and his strength staff did a really good job of putting together a program to where these guys would be able to connect. These guys hang out all the time. They spend time after workouts in the summer throwing, and they spend time after practice throwing. But I think when it comes to Bo and those guys, they do spend a lot of time together, and it's a great connection right now.
I know we're only 3 days in, but what stands out to you about Jurion so far?
Jurion's doing good. It's Jurion, man. If you guys know Jurion, he's pretty funny. He's doing a good job. I think he's doing a good job in meetings. He's asked good questions. He's taking notes, and obviously making the transition from high school to college. He's just learning how to practice, but he's doing good. He's making plays, running around, playing fast.
What went into him getting 99? Is that a number he wanted? What?
Yep, that's the number he wanted.
And it was as simple as that?
Yeah, that's the number he wanted, exactly. Yeah, he wanted 99, so he got 99. So if you know Jurion, that's Jurion.
Is that the strangest receiver number you've coached before?
I've never had a 99. In 20 years, I've never had a 99, so it's a first.
What was your reaction when you heard that he wanted that number?
I'm like, come on, Jurion. Like, serious? Nah, for real, I won 99. I'm like, all right. So you got to talk to Coach Lanning about that one.
He tried. He didn't want to say much about it. So.
Yeah. So he said defer to me?
No, he didn't say anything.
No, you Jurion. It's just being Jurion, 99.
So you got.
I don't care what number he wears. Just make plays and know where you're going.
So you got a new toy out there with the Seeker. What's your early impressions of just how that's going to help you guys and what that offers your group in particular?
Well, I've had the Seeker. I had experience with the Seeker about 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought it's really good because you can get a lot of catches in a short amount of time, and then you can program it to where you can actually run a route and it can shoot it to you. You can catch a lot of balls that you couldn't catch on a normal jugs machine. So it's been good. The guy's been working on it a lot after practice.
Coach, obviously,
this year is expected to be another tough year for Oregon football, but now knowing that this is going to be the last year in the Pac-12, does this mean anything more, a little bit more special for you guys to compete and dominate, especially in the game offensively, knowing it's going to be the last season in the Pac-12?
One thing that we really care about is just being in the present and being where our feet are. And we're going to take it day by day. Tomorrow is practice 4, and that's what we're concerned with.
Talked about going back in the spring, even last year, about overhauling the room. And you've produced some great receivers before. This place only had that 1,000-yard receiver the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. Hasn't had a guy go in the first or second round in 25 years. What will the guys atop the depth chart in your room right now have to do to 6-8 months from now change that?
It starts in camp, right? We're really starting the off season. The way they come in every day, being a pro about how they attack the day, how they practice, how they come to meetings, and then obviously it's showing up on Saturdays and being consistent.
How have you seen Troy and Chris and some of the returners handle all the competition, adding so many new players? Like, what's your observations been of that?
They've been great about it. The guys that came in they're making Troy and Chris better, and vice versa. And and the thing is, no one's separate. We're all together. Everyone in that room is very well connected, and they feed off each other. They ask each other questions. They tell each other when they're right. They tell each other when they're wrong, and that's what friends should do.
Troy obviously had a great season last year. Just where have you seen him grow over the offseason? Where do you want to see him get to?
Troy, this offseason, I mean, if you can see him, I always refer back to the meeting room, right? Because literally in the meeting room, Troy has taken a step. I mean, you see him taking notes. I mean, you see him asking a lot of questions. You see him this offseason. I mean, he'll send me text messages of videos of like, hey, look at this guy run this route, or vice versa. He put some weight on a little bit. He's moving a little bit better. He's got a little more girth to him. He's been working hard.
What's the ceiling for Troy, you think, this season? I mean, how far do you think he can go this year?
I mean, I really don't put a ceiling on guys. You know what I mean? But I expect Troy to do big things.
How important is it for him to maybe model certain things, because he's been here for a while, for some of the younger guys, just kind of maybe show by example some of the things?
The things showing by example, how he comes to work every day, being consistent, attacking the meeting room, how he practices. I mean, you got to understand when high school kids come to college, the next step is learning how to practice, and that's what he can give those guys, is learning how to practice, learning how to take notes in meetings, and he's doing a good job of it.
That's Junior Adams, Oregon wide receiver coach, meeting with the media. And when we come back, switching gears to the defensive line with Coach Tony Tuioti. This is a fun dynamic. There's a couple father-son connections on this Oregon football team. Coach Tuioti has one of them. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. OnPoint, people are the point. OnPoint Community Credit Union proudly supports University of Oregon athletics. One of those athletics is Duck football, and Tony Tuioti, the Oregon defensive line coach. This was a fun conversation, talking about a group that's got a lot of depth. Rob and I were just discussing that depth. Some injuries from last year. Those guys are healthy, and suddenly it's like, whoa. What do you do with all these guys? Coach Tuioti on that subject and his father-son connection on the team.
Should I start with singing the song?
If you want.
No.
How do you compare this year at this point compared to a year ago where a lot of your guys are coming off injuries? You didn't have a chance to see them in the spring. Dan was talked about couldn't do as much two-spot practices now with a healthier group. Where are you compared to a year ago?
Night and day from where we were last year. You know, Dorlis was still getting healthy, getting over injury. Keon still trying to get healthy. Popo still trying to get healthy. These guys have already had a full off season, had a full spring practice, summer. So it's been night and day. It's been really good. We've been able to get some quality reps with two-spot. Gives a chance for the young guys to develop and get reps too as well. So it's been awesome, especially to have the veteran leadership back. It's been really good.
Casey Rogers is a name that we've heard a lot. Is really standing out this year. How much of a leap has he made from last year to this year?
A lot. In terms of just understanding the defense. It's a complex defense, but being year two in the defense, just understanding what to expect out of each play and what his job responsibility is and how his technique fits in each play call. He's come a long way. He's been a great leader. He's been consistent. He's been doing that. We've been together for 5 years. So I know what to expect out of him. He works really hard. He's a team guy. So, really glad that he's with us.
What's been your favorite part about having your son on the team and being able to see him around the HTC every day and stuff like that?
Just seeing him every day, as a dad, in this profession, you miss a lot. Just being around your kids and not being able to see them, but to see them in the building and see them in meetings and, see them out at practice, it's a really, really cool experience.
And his body has changed a lot from this time last year until now. Just what of the other improvements have you kind of seen in him from the dad side?
Well, number one, just the maturity. He's matured a lot just as a person. Just from the development side, our staff does a really good job. Coach Lanning does a really good job with the staff in terms of the connection part. Coach Willie Love does a great job in the weight room. He's added like 30 pounds to his frame since he's been on campus, and that's a testament to Coach Love and his staff, and also Brennan, nutritionist.
I mean, this guy right here, you talk about the best D-line coach in the country, hands down.
I came here to media. We usually do our cold tub after practice, so I had to skip out on that just to hang out with you guys for a little bit. But no, Coach Charles is awesome.
For Dorlis, where do you see him, because of his versatility, like what technique do you think he actually plays as his home position? Because I suppose he could go anywhere from 0 out to 6, 7?
Yeah, he can play a lot of different positions, and that's what makes him really good. He's got position flex to play 5 technique. He can slide down on sub downs and be a 3 technique and take advantage of guards in pass situations. So he's really improved a lot in his technique in the run game. He's put on 10 pounds, 15 pounds from where he was last year, so he's able to set some hard edges for us in the run game and then be able to collapse the pocket if he's rushing inside. But he's done a tremendous job really getting himself physically ready for the season.
What would you like to see him still kind of fine-tune in these next few weeks?
Everything, just from football IQ aspect, getting himself in better shape. That's what training camp's for. Like how many reps can he play at a high level? And he's not where we want him to be. Still trying to work on his fundamental technique in the run game, and then just trying to find a fastball pass rush move that he really, really likes, and then a counter off of that.
We talk a lot about the veterans. We talk a lot about the new freshmen and stuff. Are there some year 2 people that you've seen really make a big jump from where they were last year to this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ben Roberts is one that's definitely taken a big step from coming in as a young guy. He's taken some really good reps even against the ones, and he's shown up. So he's a lot more stout in the run game and has been able to push and collapse the pocket for us in the pass game.
Where much have been reps coming from?
I'm sorry?
Where are Ben's reps coming at right now?
Ben at the interior position, playing a lot of nose, playing some 3 technique. He's put some weight on. He's sitting around 305, 310. So a lot of guys really did a lot of great job, did a really good job with those guys and putting weight on their frame and getting stronger.
Now that you're able to see Popo in full action between spring and now, what does he offer you that is just different than Jordan even offered you a year ago?
Yeah, just the pure athleticism. Popo is very dynamic. He's strong. He's got really good hands. He's got great technique. He can rush the passer. He can win on the edge with speed, and he can win with power. A healthy Popo makes us a lot better up front. It'll make us a very complete defensive line having a healthy Popo. So it's just a matter of us being able to get the amount of work that we need out of him, but get him to Saturdays.
How do you try to instill or coach up confidence or swagger or mental edge? Where is that coachable, Tony? Is that something that somebody has to have and believe at that level of ego, or is that something that you can instill and pull out of somebody?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. I think confidence comes from when you know what you're doing. And, these guys are doing a really good job in the classroom just taking notes, because when you know what you're doing and you know what other people are doing around you, you can play with more confidence and you can play faster. And that's the difference between having a young freshman and a veteran guy, right? The difference is the veteran guy knows what's happening. He can react. He anticipates what's happening. The younger guys are still trying to figure that out. So, I think it's a mix of both.
Do you think Jordan knows how good he can be?
Jordan?
Or how good he is, let alone can be?
Yeah, he's got potential. I mean, he's been blessed with size and strength, but it's just a matter of just putting in the work every day. He's a team player. Love Jordan. He's great. He's great around the guys, but he's showing some things. He's showing flashes of really good things to be able to rush off the edge. He's a big man that can set the edge, and he's a big man that can collapse the pocket.
You've coached in the Big Ten before. What will it be like coaching in the Big Ten?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for the school. There's a lot of great traditions in the Big Ten. I just think the fan base there in a lot of different places are exciting to be a part of. You can go to the Horseshoe, you can go to the Big House, you can go into Memorial Stadium. There's great tradition there. So Big Ten football, you got to be able to play the run. And you got to be able to also get after some athletic quarterbacks too as well. And one great thing about being at Oregon is we can recruit nationally, and we can go get some of those players too, and be able to run with them and be able to, play in the trenches and be stout.
You looking forward to be able to face your former team a lot more in the future?
Yeah, but there's some teams that we got to face now, so we're excited about being in the Big Ten, but we got a tough Pac-12 schedule that we got to play. We got a Heisman Trophy returner in our conference, and we got a really good quarterback up in Washington State, so we got our work cut out for us in this league before it's all said and done.
Tony Tuioti, Oregon defensive line coach, meeting with the media after practice, says the Ducks, I think the defensive line depth, just look at some of the guys returning from injury, right? Like Popo is coming back. I really feel like this is going to be a strength of Oregon's team. The depth on the D-line is going to be really important. It's not just the depth. I think it's also the experience. I loved Coach Tuioti's answer there, talking about what it really means to be a veteran. And the Ducks have so many of those guys, like a Casey Rogers, like Popo, like Taki Taimani. There's so many that fit that mold of you're a veteran now. I think that veteran leadership on the D-line, anytime you can win in the trenches, I hear Jorgie say it all the time. You win in the trenches, you're going to win a lot of football games. I think the Ducks are going to win in the trenches this year. When we come back, we'll have our Cafe Yum 2-minute drill looking around Oregon athletics. And then tomorrow, Ryan Milano's got a ton of Oregon student-athlete interviews for you. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Time for today's 2-minute drill, always brought to you by our friends at Cafe Yum. Well, if you missed it earlier today, discussing the newest watch list members for Oregon football, Doak Walker Award. Oregon running backs Bucky Irving and Noah Whittington have been named to the preseason watch list for the Doak Walker Award. Irving and Whittington among 75 players on the preseason watch list. And for Oregon women's golf, this was outstanding. Senior Brianna Chacon set the 36-hole scoring record at the 123rd U.S. Women's Amateur on Tuesday. She finished with a 9-under. Really impressive, 131 to claim stroke play medalist honors. She said afterwards she didn't even know that it was a record. Set the record for the U.S. Women's Amateur. Also, Oregon men's basketball has announced the signing of transfer guard Jesse Zarzuela. He's out of Houston, and he comes to the Ducks from Central Michigan, where he was quite the shooter. 16 points per game, shot 40% from the floor, over 35% from three. Also averaged 4 rebounds and 3 assists per game. And, man, I'll tell you, Ducks are putting together quite the roster with Dane Altman's team. The transfer portal continues to be a real tool for Oregon men's basketball. Has been for a long time and continues in this era of college athletics. Tomorrow, Ryan Milano's got you covered. We're back on the practice field this afternoon. More from all of that action tomorrow on the show. And that's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Enjoy a famous Yum Bowl at 23 Cafe Yum restaurants throughout the Northwest, home of the Ducks. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks to Scott Phillips and Rob Moseley. Ryan Milano has you tomorrow.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to